Hello and welcome to the season finale for exhibit tours in 2024. To celebrate my 50th tour, I decided to showcase an exhibit that I've been waiting to feature since this channel's inception. The Tembo Trail began its life as the African savanna, opening in several phases from 1986 to 1989. The exhibit was so successful that it helped pull the zoo out of financial struggles and usher in what would become known as the Renaissance era at the Toledo Zoo. I first experienced this exhibit in 2007, and it would be an understatement to say that it had a big effect on me, since it was the first place I regularly saw what would become my two favorite animals. While parts of the trail have been nearly unchanged since my first visit, in 2010 the zoo did away with some of the trail's smaller habitats in favor of giving the largest of the trail's many large residents an upgraded home, and the area was rebranded as the Tembo Trail. Though the exhibit originally retained its African theme, the collection has changed considerably in the last 14 years and now features mammals from 4 different continents. So for those zoo nerds among us who care about geographic accuracy, I apologize in advance for what you're about to see. With that warning out of the way, let's get started. We begin in the plaza. Opposite the historic reptile house is the distinguished archway marking the entrance to the trail. The trail's first species is one that you'd be pretty fortunate to come across in an American zoo, the Tasmanian Devil. These devils got their name from their blood-curdling scream, believed by those who heard it to be made by a demon. Though they are not demons, Tassie devils are ferocious little creatures. Relative to their size, they possess one of the strongest bite forces among mammals, capable of crushing bone. As of now, the Toledo Zoo is just one of, I believe, 4 or 5 facilities in the country to display this carnivorous marsupial. However, it wasn't that long ago that the species was completely absent from the US. Toledo has had them since 2016, and just this year was chosen to be the holding facility for 8 new Tassie devils who are transported to the US from Tasmania to act as ambassadors for their species. 6 of them either already have or will be on the move to other zoos, while 2 will remain on display in Toledo. These zoos work in partnership with the Save the Tasmanian Devil program, which was established in 2003 as a response to the growing threat posed by DFTD, or Devil Facial Tumor Disease, to the Tasmanian devil population. What makes this disease so deadly is that it is one of the few known cancers that can be transmitted through physical contact, so it is easily spread during mating or fights between individuals. The next exhibit is likely still the first thing that comes to mind when you think of the Toledo Zoo. You're first offered a view of an open riverbank, but continuing down a slight decline, you'll more often find the exhibit's residents lounging in the world-famous Hippoquarium. When it opened in 1986, this was the first exhibit to offer clear underwater viewing of hippos, a concept that wouldn't be replicated for nearly a decade. A year later, the exhibit achieved another first when the zoo's female hippo Bubbles gave birth on exhibit, allowing guests to witness the underwater birth of a hippo for the first time. Bubbles successfully raised 11 calves in her 57 years at the Toledo Zoo before her passing in 2013. Given that Toledo is famous for their hippo births, it might surprise you to hear that it's been 24 years since the last hippo was born at the zoo. In fact, you're looking at him. This is Herbie, who was born here on August 2nd, 2000. He still lives with his mother Emma, who was born at the Denver Zoo but moved to Toledo when she was just a year old. If you've ever wondered, like I have, why neither Herbie or Emma have received a breeding recommendation in the last 20 years, I think it has to do with their lineage. Herbie's father, Cupid, sired 14 calves, while Emma's father, the famous Birdie of Denver Zoo, fathered an incredible 29 calves during his life, meaning that both Herbie and Emma's genes are well represented within the captive population. I may be biased, but hippos are among the most awe-inspiring animals in the entire animal kingdom. A lot of it has to do with their mouths, which they can open almost 180 degrees and close with a bite force of 1800 psi, which is stronger than any carnivorous land mammal. Additionally, their lower canines never stop growing and can reach over a foot in length. Paralleled across from the hippos is a smaller riverbank, once the home of African otters, but now you'll find the more common North American river otter. Here, guests can enjoy the playful antics of Winston and Tilly. Today, the North American river otter has a stable population across the US, but that hasn't always been the case. In Ohio, the species was completely extirpated via trapping and habitat loss by the early 1900s. However, successful reintroduction efforts began in the mid-80s, and by 2012 there was an estimated 8,000 otters living in Ohio's waterways. While you could argue the Tembo Trail peaks with the Hippoquarium, the trail's namesakes might have something to say on the matter. The trail rises to a winding boardwalk that offers numerous vantage points of what is actually the second elephant yard, completed in 2012. The first yard, which was finished 2 years prior, is best viewed from the plaza outside the trail's entrance. While the renovated habitats did sacrifice naturalism and continuity with the trail's other habitats, I think the elephants would agree that the increase in living space and enrichment opportunities was worth the trade-off. The complex is currently home to 4 African elephants. The longest tenured resident is Renee, a 45-year-old female who was born in the wild in 1979 before being captured and brought into captivity at just a few years old, a practice that would be majorly frowned upon today. Renee has lived at the Toledo Zoo since 1982, having 3 calves in that time. Her firstborn Louie moved to Omaha in 2017, and then on to the North Carolina Zoo in 2021. Renee's second calf Lucas was born in the midst of the renovations in 2011, and was the star of the elephant yards for 9 years, before sadly passing away from EEHV in 2021. The zoo's other adult female is Twiggy, a confiscated circus elephant that joined the Toledo herd in 2010. As of now, Toledo's lone bull is a Johnny, who joined the zoo just recently in 2023, and who I saw getting to know the zoo's newest little big star, baby Kirkja. In March of 2024, the Toledo Zoo announced the birth of Renee's third calf, a healthy baby boy born via artificial insemination. However, Kirk, as he was named, had a surprise in store for everyone, when a few weeks later he was revealed to be a she, and the name was adapted to be Kirkja. Since she was born via the increasingly common practice of AI, Kirkja's father is not in Toledo, but rather was revealed to be Titan, a 14-year-old bull living at the Sedgwick County Zoo. Elephant calves are born after nearly 2 years of gestation, the longest among mammals. One of the many things that makes baby elephants so adorable is that they don't immediately know how to use their trunk. It takes 6 to 8 months for them to start eating and drinking with their trunk. As they learn how to use it, elephant calves show a preference for grasping things with the right or left side of their trunk, which is an elephant's version of being right or left-handed. As you continue up the boardwalk, holes in the wooden bridge wall offer a last overhead view of the hippo pool. And wrapping around to the right is your chance to view the elephants indoors, meaning they can be seen year-round even in the winter. But even when all the elephants are outside, there's still a reason to come in here to see the zoo's colony of naked mole rats. These bizarre rodents may not be winning any beauty contest, but they could win a rodent longevity contest. While most small rodents have a lifespan of just a few years, the naked mole rat can live up to 30. Back outside, in the trail's African savanna days, this well-shaded hillside displayed white rhino pair Lulu and Sam, who I believe lived together from the exhibit's opening until their passings in 2016 and 2017 respectively. The following year, the zoo found their replacement in the form of Ashish, an Indian rhinoceros who traveled just a few hours north from his birthplace at the Wilds. While Sam and Lulu are surely missed, Ashish is, in my opinion, a better resident for this particular habitat, since as a more water-loving species, he frequently makes use of the moat at the front of the exhibit, giving guests a more up-close experience. Compared to the other remaining rhino species, the Indian rhino is doing fairly well. In fact, the population has tripled in the last 4 decades, from 1,500 to 4,000 individuals. While the white rhino does hold the title as the largest rhino, the Indian rhino is actually the tallest, standing up to 6.5 feet at the shoulder. Indian rhinos are perhaps most well known for the deep folds in their skin that makes it appear as though they are wearing armor. Well, not literally armor, rhino skin is so tough that it might as well be. The skin can be up to 2 inches thick and has a keratinized outer layer that helps protect the rhino from predators and other environmental hazards. Next door to Ashish is a multi-level grassy yard that has had trouble finding a permanent resident. Over my years of visiting, I've seen dromedary camels, Watusi cattle, more recently a trio of reindeer, Bactrian camels, and yaks rotated time in the exhibit. However, these animals moved to another area of the zoo during the nearby construction that we'll get to in a moment. And instead of bringing them back after the construction had concluded, the zoo chose to bring in Sichuan takins, a wonderfully unique goat-like antelope from China and the eastern Himalayas. Our second last exhibit and our final callback to the trail's African roots is a well-planted copy with multiple viewing points for the slender-tailed meerkat. I've mentioned before how vicious these seemingly cute critters can be, and well, I'm gonna do it again. I promise I don't have anything against them, it's just that most of the more fun facts about meerkats involve them being violent. For example, meerkats will sometimes go to war with rival clans with potentially deadly results. For another, meerkats have perfected their technique for hunting scorpions by first biting off the scorpion's tail and stinger to remove the prey's primary defense. The trail's final stop is also its newest. The Kodiak Ridge was completed in 2023, offering an improved home for the zoo's 3 rescued brown bears, who had been living in the vacated former lion habitat since 2016. With the renovation, the original viewing area in the Tembo Trail remained, with the addition of a sandbox for kids to dig alongside the bears. A second viewing area was added on the opposite side of the habitat in the adjacent Tiger Terrace. This side is where guests can see the bears close up in their new 5,000-gallon pool, a major improvement on their old improvised pool, though I will miss watching 2 of the bears squeeze into this water tub together. Despite the exhibit's name, only one of its 3 residents is actually a Kodiak bear. Grizzly bear sisters Cody and Montana came to Toledo from Yellowstone National Park, while Dodge, a massive 1,100-plus pound male Kodiak bear, came from Kodiak Island, Alaska. All 3 bears were rescued after their mothers were killed. Kodiak bears, like Dodge, are found only on the Kodiak archipelago. They are the largest subspecies of brown bear, able to grow bigger due in part to their nutrient-rich, salmon-heavy diet. In contrast, the inland grizzly bear is more adaptable with a more varied diet that can be much more vegetation-based depending on the region. Aside from the size, there's other subtle differences in appearance. Kodiak bears lack the blonde or silver-tipped fur that grizzlies are known for, and instead have a darker chocolate-brown fur all around. Even though Dodge is twice their size, that doesn't seem to stop the girls from wrestling with him, as all 3 bears make the most of their second opportunity here at the zoo. And that does it for a walk through the Tembo Trail at the Toledo Zoo. As I mentioned in the intro, some may lament its lack of a cohesive theme, but you can't deny it is a true one-of-a-kind exhibit. It's not often you can find the world's 3 largest land mammals all in one exhibit, and what other exhibit out there can take you from the Tasmanian outback to the rivers of Africa and North America, on the African savanna, to the grasslands of Asia, and back to North America once more. And of course, the Toledo Zoo will always be remembered for introducing the world to a brand new way to view hippos. Thank you for watching.